Veterans Perspectives. My name is Jeff, your host, author, general idiot. Today, we will be focusing on the education front, part 4. This is our final part of this particular series on education, the standard of consequence. First, our sponsor, you all know what it is. It's our Etsy store, jkprintgifts.etsy.com. I'll leave the link down in the bio. Get yourself a t-shirt. If you spend $35 or more, you get free shipping on all of your items, or if you get one item that is $35 or more, you get free shipping. So check it out today. T-shirts, hats, wall art. We got all kinds of good stuff on there. So please check it out today. All profits support me, my wife, my kids, and keep us going. So definitely check it out today. All right, let's get started. The educational front. Part 4, the standard of consequence. This is directly from the newsletter on Veteran Perspectives on Substack. I'll leave the link to the newsletter down in the description. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. I pair these podcast episodes with the newsletters. They go kind of hand in hand. Think of the podcast as an extension of the newsletter, okay? Because I know some people have asked, so wanted to kind of explain that a little bit. So definitely make sure you subscribe to both. Both are free, so go for it. We have diagnosed the rot inside of the building of education, okay? Now we have to talk about how to force accountability into the system that is actively fighting to protect its own mediocrity, because we know that that is a thing, okay? Over the last 3 weeks, we've conducted a full tactical reconnaissance of the American public education system. In part 1, we exposed the professional development charade. We looked at the veteran educators who view any change to their outdated routines as a personal insult, proudly wearing their stagnation like it's some sort of badge of honor. In part 2, we looked at the victims of that stagnation, okay, students, new teachers coming into the system, teachers that want to change, and leaders who want to change. We analyzed the agency illusion, breaking down how the spoon-fed classroom activity destroys a child's resilience by removing all of their intellectual friction. In part 3, we targeted the chain of command. We dismantled the academic leadership that treats professional learning communities like coffee breaks and refuses to hold failing staff members accountable just to keep the hallways quiet. We've mapped out the entire architecture of this failure, okay? The culture inside the building is completely broken. We know it is, all right? Now we have to talk about the counteroffensive. How do we fix it, okay? Because for those of you that know me, you guys know that I will bring up the mess, right? But I always bring up how to clean up the mess, the solutions. It's kind of my thing, all right? We simply cannot observe the collapse of our civic pipeline and complain about it. We have to establish a standard of consequence. What are the consequences of these actions, and how do we fix it? We have to figure out how to force accountability into an institution that will do absolutely anything to avoid it. This is an institution that for decades has avoided accountability. They'll change the rubric to avoid accountability. And let me give you a prime example. You guys know these A, B, C, D failing school grades that you see throughout all of your states? Look at what those grades actually are and how they've changed over the years. An A school isn't a 90% school, like passing rate. It's not. Now, it's different per state, okay, but it's not. It doesn't mean 90% of your kids are passing the reading test or the math test or both. It's not. It sounds like it should be, right? Like, oh, this school has 90% of their students, at a minimum, passing the state-mandated exam for reading, writing, and math. No, it's not what it means. It's not what it means. Like, oh, they're a B school. They have at least 80% of their kids passing that test. It's not what it means. Not what it means. They lower the standard to put some shiny letter grade on their fucking building to make themselves feel good about themselves. It has nothing to do with student achievement or student academic success at all in any way. And they know it. The concrete wall of the status quo. Before we talk about solutions, I want to remind you exactly what you're up against if you try to change this system. And this is coming from someone who was in the system and who got driven out of the system by trying to change it. I'm speaking as a former teacher and instructional coach. I spent years in these buildings with good people and shitty people. And it was the shitty people that broke me that ultimately drove me out. I tried to implement modern day data driven practices, not by myself. Okay. I wasn't some Superman or Batman or anything like that. Okay. I tried to coach teachers on how to handle cognitive load back to the students and elevate their instruction. That was my job. I met an absolute concrete wall of resistance from teachers who flatly refused to change their habits, and from academic leadership who had no spine, and then blamed me when I brought it to the table. Hey, you've been given a mandate to change the curriculum. I've been trying to coach this new curriculum and ways to teach it. Teachers are refusing to do it, and you're refusing to hold them accountable. Because a coach doesn't hold them accountable. It's not their role in most schools. And I was the bad guy. Now, could I have gone about it a different way? Sure. I'm a dick. Okay? But my number one is always the student. Always. If your number one isn't the student as an adult in education, get the fuck out. Get out. Find another profession. And then on top of all this, every spring, when we come to the end of the year data sessions, I had to sit in these fucking meetings and listen to those same exact people bitch about the same shitty test scores and outcomes because they think they're God's gift to teaching and that what they do always works. And then when it doesn't, they look for everyone else to blame but themselves. They'd blame the community. They would blame the parents. Parents, I want you to know this, that there are teachers in your kids' schools right now that think it's your fault that their kids are failing. And for some of you parents, it is your fault. Partly, not fully, partly, because you're not fucking involved at all in any way. You only show up when the bad shit happens. Oh, but I have a job. Okay, your kid's your job. Shut up. Boo-hoo. Wah-wah. Trust me, I'll come after you too. I have no problem doing that either. They blame the state legislator. They blame the superintendent of instruction. They would blame everyone else but themselves. They would never, ever look at their own refusal to evolve. You're not dealing with professionals who are eager for feedback. This isn't all teachers, but it's enough. And those teachers bring down the young, eager teachers or the older teachers who really are into it, who have been into it for their entire careers. It's hard to stay in a profession where there are enough people that act like these shitbags because they drag the entire profession down. And it is the academic leadership that allows this to happen because they never hold them accountable. Ever. You're dealing with an entrenched bureaucracy that operates like a cartel. They protect each other. The system is designed to protect the adults in the building at the direct expense of who? The students. If you want to change it, You cannot negotiate with it politely. You have to disrupt the comfort of the people in charge. Kill the funding myth. The very first step in forcing accountability is to stop accepting the establishment's favorite excuse. Whenever the public points out the catastrophic failure of the public school system, the leadership of the academic community deploys the same exact defense mechanism. They claim the failure is due to lack of funding. It is their first go-to every single time. Oh, we just didn't have enough money. Bullshit. Bullshit. You just didn't use that money effectively. You made up some position like the assistant director of the director's assistant of some bullshit curriculum model's assistant. There's 900 positions that do not need to exist at the district level. I've seen it. I've seen it. Teachers that are watching this right now know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll get some 2% fucking raise that doesn't even cover inflation. They'll pretend like they're doing you a favor, and then all of a sudden there'll be 3 different district positions that you didn't even get a chance to fucking apply for that are almost double your salary. And you fucking know what happens. There's going to be a lot of cursing during this one. I cursed when I was writing this one. They will demand higher property taxes. They'll go to an override as quick as they can. And then when the grace period for an override, because most states and districts have a grace period, you can't do an override every year. You're not allowed to. Okay? But as soon as they can do another override, they'll be campaigning for another override. And teachers, who do they get to walk the streets and hand out flyers and ask for another override? You. Do they pay you overtime to do it? No, they don't. Unless you have a strong union. Even then, you're probably not getting paid overtime to campaign. They tell you, oh, you're doing it on your own time. Oh, we'll buy you pizza. Larger federal grants. Most districts do employ grant writers, or they'll get someone else in another position to do grants, usually in their off time. They don't pay them extra to do it. I know some of those people. Some of them watch this video, or these videos that I do. They'll tell you they just had more money for digital tablets. Bullshit. They got a grant to get those. Smaller class sizes, new athletic facilities. The test scores would miraculously improve if they had all this stuff. It is a complete lie. The failure is cultural, not financial. And when I say cultural, I mean the academic culture of whatever district you're in. You could pour $1 billion into a school district, but if the teachers refuse to update their instructional tactics and the principals refuse to hold them accountable and the superintendents refuse to hold them accountable, nothing will change. Nothing. It'll just look nicer while you fail. A bad teacher with a brand new smart board is still a fucking bad teacher. Oh, that's going on TikTok. I can guarantee you that's going to go on TikTok, and I'm also going to put it on LinkedIn, and I'm going to piss off about 1 million people. It's going to be great. And I'm going to say it again. A bad teacher with a new smartboard is still a bad teacher. A cowardly administrator sitting in their newly renovated office is still a cowardly administrator. Oh, that's going to piss off all my principal friends. I don't care. I just don't care. Because I'm right. And guess what? I know I'm right. Stop voting to give them more money. Now, some of you are like, oh my God, Jeff, how could you say that? How could you say stop giving more money to our students? Stop it. How could you say that, Jeff? I'm not saying stop giving more money to your students. You can still give money to students without giving money to school districts. You don't need to vote for an entire override where you lose control of how that money is used. Buy the materials. Bring them directly to the classroom. That way you know that that money is used for the materials. You're not just blindly handing away cash. Because that's what you're doing. Stop voting to give them more money until they can prove that they have the operational discipline to fix the culture. When the district asks for a budget increase, demand an audit of their instructional practices instead. Force them to answer why they are protecting educators who produce failing data year after year. If you're voting for an override and your kids in your district are failing state testing and can't read and can't write and can't do math, why are you giving them money? Stop it. You're part of the problem. You wouldn't give money to a failing business. Cut off the financial leverage until they implement a standard of consequence and actually follow through with that consequence, because they're not. The parental audit. Parents, if you're a parent with a child inside the system, you must stop acting like a passive consumer. Parents, I'm coming after you now. And start acting like an aggressive auditor. This is going to require you to be involved in your kid's school, and some of you treat schools like a fucking babysitter. Stop it. Stop it now. Your kids go to that school for upwards of 8 hours a day. Maybe you should know the type of place you're sending your kids. How about you grow up and be more involved? You cannot trust the principal's weekly fucking newsletter. You cannot trust the sanitized report cards. You must inspect what you expect. When your child brings home an assignment, look at the structure of the work. And you might not understand it. Ask questions. Hey, what is this? What is my kid expected to do here? How can I help? Is it a passive worksheet designed to spoon feed them the answer? Are they being challenged? Does it require any actual friction or critical thinking? If your child is getting straight A grades, but you know they're not being challenged to read complex text or solve difficult problems independently, you are looking at manufactured illusion of success. Take that evidence directly to building leadership. Do not ask for a parent-teacher conference to discuss your child's feelings. Ask for a meeting to discuss the instructional rigor of the classroom. Bring the worksheets. Ask the principal on the record, because they must keep a record, how this specific assignment aligns with the high-level standard. Ask them why the teacher is doing all the heavy lifting while the student is just filling in the blanks. Remember, teachers. I know I come after you, but I come after you because you should be better. You shouldn't be the one going home tired. Your kids should be. Their brains should be worked so hard that they go home and they're tired. And the only way that happens is if you become a better teacher and you can work them. When parents start demanding actual academic friction rather than just quiet compliance, The administrators will be forced to turn around and apply that pressure to their staff. Reclaiming the school board. This is a big one. The ultimate point of leverage in the education system is the local school board. Look, 95-year-old people should not be sitting on the fucking school board. This is where policy is set, where superintendents are hired and the standards are enforced. For decades, we have treated school board elections as an afterthought. We allowed these boards to be completely captured by retired administrators, union loyalists in union districts and union towns, and people who treat the position as a stepping stone for local politics. These people are inherently loyal to the system. They will never vote to disrupt the comfort of the staff. I'm going to say something and just get over it now. Fuck that shit. We know our education system is failing. Why aren't school boards challenging it? Because they're soft. We must launch a localized tactical effort to take these seats back. We need veterans, tradesmen, business owners, and serious parents running for school boards. We need people who understand how to read a spreadsheet, how to hold an employee accountable for failing metrics, and how to fire a manager who refuses to lead. If a superintendent cannot produce a building culture where professional development is taken seriously and teachers are forced to evolve, the school board must terminate their contract. Look, the school board is not a parade. Oh, look at us. We're going to the science fair to show our faces and to shake hands and kiss babies. Fuck off. Your job is to make sure that the districts that you represent operate effectively for who? Students, parents, stakeholders. That is your job. And you're failing. And you have failed for decades because you think it's a fucking parade. The board must strip protection from the failing principals and mandate that instructional and coaches that coaches are actually empowered to do their jobs. And that's me being selfish, right? I'll give you my bias and my confirmation bias right off the bat. Instructional coaches are a joke position. Hell, the contracts for coaches here in Arizona are a joke. Instructional coaches are given a regular teacher contract with a special assignment as an instructional coach. And then if the fucking principal doesn't like you, they'll shove you back in a classroom. How about we don't do that? How about we create a position like you do in the fucking district for 9,000 different things that you don't need, and you actually hire people who have been great teachers to coach people to be better teachers and to help teachers grow. Because obviously the principals can't do it or won't do it. The ultimatum for good educators. Finally, we need to speak to the capable, dedicated educators who are still trapped inside these buildings. I know you exist. I worked with you. I know how exhausted you are from carrying the weight of your lazy ass peers. I know it. You have to stop providing cover for them. Stop it. Stop protecting them. That makes you part of the problem, not the solution. It does. And I love you guys. When you sit in the PLC and watch a 20-year veteran grade papers instead of analyzing data, call them out. Say, hey, what the fuck? Like, yo, I don't care if you're retiring this year. We need you. How about you lend some of that expertise to this side of the table? When you sit in a staff meeting and listen to your colleagues complain about the test scores after they spent the entire year actively resisting new strategies, refuse to validate their excuses. Say, hey, remember when we went to that PD that talked about making this change, and this change? Where were you? Because you didn't do it. Your silence is being weaponized by the administration to maintain the status quo. If the competent teachers in the building start loudly demanding a higher standard of professionalism from their own ranks, the cowardly leadership will have no choice but to address the rot, or that leadership will be replaced. Because if the good teachers start speaking up, the leadership above the principals will notice. That I could promise you. You must make it more uncomfortable to be a bad teacher than it is to be a good one. Good teachers, you shouldn't be uncomfortable to go to work. And right now you are, and I know you are. I know it. Some of you are just starting your school year, or you're just about to start your school year. And if you're a good teacher right now, your anxiety is through the fucking roof because there's about 3 or 4 shit ass teachers that you're like, fuck, I got to deal with that dick. And not because they're going to challenge me to be a better teacher, because they're going to challenge me because they're bad at their fucking job and they refuse to be better. And you know it. You know it. Fix it. Fix it. The final line, conclusion. The Republic cannot survive a generation of citizens who have been trained to fear friction, who lack basic problem-solving skills, and who expect an authority figure to spoon-feed them every answer. The real world does not work this way. The public school system was built to forge a resilient, capable citizenry. It has devolved into an administrative daycare center, because that's how a lot of parents view it, that prioritizes the comfort of the adults over the cognitive development of the children. I tried to coach them, me and many others. I tried to help them fix it from the inside. They refused to change, and then they bitched about the results, and then they drove me and many others out. The time for polite coaching is over. It's done. The time for professional development charade is done. We must force the friction back into classrooms. Hold the leadership to an absolute unyielding standard of accountability and rebuild the pipeline of competence into this country. The future is not going to wait for the adults to get comfortable. Take the building back. Tactical summary. Just kind of a breakdown of what we've talked about. The reality. The education system is an entrenched bureaucracy that protects the comfort of the adults at the direct expense of student capability. The funding myth. Failure in our schools is a cultural problem, not a financial one. Throwing more money at bad instruction and cowardly leadership yields zero results. The audit. Parents must actively audit the rigor of classroom assignments and confront leadership over the lack of intellectual friction. The objective. Reclaim local school boards with citizens who are willing to enforce a strict standard of consequence and fire administrators who refuse to lead. Stop accepting the excuses. Demand the standard. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this series on the educational front. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow both here on YouTube or wherever you're listening, and follow the Substack. The link is down in the description. I will see you guys next time on Veteran Perspectives. Thank you guys.